What's up, home skillets? Welcome back to the Throwback Afternoon podcast. I am your host, James, joined by my brother and fellow Throwback Afternooner, Jared.
Hello.
We are back here to talk about our week again, talk about the new things we've been eating, watching, playing, um, and just generally talk about our weeks and what we've been getting into. Like I said, this podcast where a 91 baby and a 94 baby, a couple of millennials growing up in the 90s and 2000s, just talking about our lives, our day-to-day lives a little bit, and trying new things and new experiences and sharing them here with you guys. So this week was, I think, was April 15th through the 21st, is what I'm saying, which through today basically. Um, be sure to check out our first episode, which is over on. It's on Spotify now. It's also on RSS.com. It's also should be on Amazon Music, Samsung Podcast, Podcast Index, and a place called Listen Notes. Some of those I've never even heard of, to be honest with you. But I mainly use Spotify or Amazon Music. But it is available there. Without further ado, we'll get right into it. Probably pretty much with the doing category, I guess, basically, and just ask what you've been into. Anything interesting? Any fun events or anything crazy happened to you this week?
Yeah, actually, I have started making some, uh, I guess, employment moves at work.
Ooh,
I
so
have
soon.
signed up for one position. I come in early and I get off early to do extra stuff, and I started that Wednesday or Thursday. But they also told us this Friday that they have a position open for a team lead position,
Ooh,
which would be more hours, more money, more problems. But that's been my life motto, so I've signed up for it. I'm hoping to hear back. I sent an email to the correct party that
right.
I need to send an email to. So hopefully they'll get back with me and I get an interview next week with everybody else who signs up for it. And then hopefully in a couple weeks, we'll hear something back. Hopefully I got the job.
Nice, awesome. Well, we will keep posted on that and hopefully hear back from you on that. That would be awesome. Like I said, yeah, it's definitely, more hours and more problems is always kind of a thing, but like you said, it's attached to the more money, which is nice, especially, it always helps. It helps out to have and helps build you a little bit. It's like I was telling my wife, it's not so much about the amount of free time or extra time that we get and stuff, it's about the quality of that time spent. So, yeah, you'll have more hours and stuff, but then you'll have more money, which means when you are off or when you are able to have a little bit of freedom or have a day off, you'll have more money to be able to do more and get out and buy more or do whatever you need with it. So it's
For
not
sure.
bad. So we'll definitely be wishing you luck there. But that is
Thank you.
awesome. Yeah, I didn't even know about that, but that's pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else? Any other big news to report on the doing side of things?
I don't believe so. I think that's the biggest, just like
News.
news for my week.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The first thing that I wrote down this week is in all caps allergies exclamation point frowny face on my notes.
Sounds about right.
They've just been awful this. I mean, they're bad always this time of year, and I always get hit pretty hard at least a week or two with it. Uh, I mean, I get it's a 2 or 3 month period that they bother me, but it's always like the worst. It's always amplified for a couple weeks, and yeah, it just hit me hard, like the early part of this week. I think it was as far as in the doing. The only other things I have was from yesterday. Like I said, we got out and took our daughter and made a little family trip to London. We was wanting to go originally a little further away, um, but we wanted to make a little bit further trip to another town that has a few more things. But we just circumstances wasn't working out for us, so we ended up just going to staying local here. And but they had a children's museum uh, that was new, and I hadn't been there yet. I'd forgot that it was even a thing. I meant whenever we wasn't able to go where I'd originally planned on going and checking out, I was a little bit disheartened, and I was a little bit like, well, we stay local all the time. Like we go here most weekends, we just stay local, and I'm like, there's not much to do. I was like, it's just the same old every week, and my wife's like, well, we'll figure something out. She's like, it's still we're getting out of the house, we're doing something, and she's like, let's just figure out, talk about it, figure out what we want to do next. Because the first thing we had to do when we left was go through the car wash. Because our car, with all the one of my reasons my allergies been so bad is the pollen was my car was coated in it.
Yes.
Um, and so I'm like, well, the first thing I'm doing is cleaning that off. And then when we got out of there, she's like, well, let's just figure out from here where we're gonna go. And literally, the place I chose to park after we got out of there was right in front of that children's museum. I was like, I forgot this was a thing you told me about existed. And I was like, well, are they open? How much is it? Because that would be perfect. And like with Ivy, which is my daughter, like she loves this little stuff like that. Like she loves museum-y stuff and getting out and trying new things and experiencing it. And I was like, well, this would be perfect. And it was actually cheaper, ended up being than I thought it would be. And so I said, okay,
Huh.
well, let's just try this. Yeah, because like online, I think it said it was going to be $12 a person, which still is not bad. But I was like, well, for three of us, that's a little high. I'm like, but if they got a lot of stuff, it'd be worth it. As long as we get our money's worth out of it. And then we get in there, she's like, oh no, it's $8 a person. And I was like,
Oh,
that's $12 cheaper than I thought it was going to be. So here we
right.
go. But she liked it. They had like right when you first come in, they have a big fish tank and it had a couple turtles in it, and she loved that. She loves animals and stuff. And they had like these little building block areas. They had like these little gears that you put up with like magnets on the wall, and if you turn one, it makes them all move.
Hmm.
Um, they had like a little keyboard mat or piano mat that you step on, plays music. They had like a whole music area where they had like tambourines and drums and maracas and a triangle. They had little like pretend play areas set up where they had one was set up like a little grocery store and it had a little shelf you could get a basket, and then it had a little seat with a cash register where like the kid could sit and pretend like they're working a cash register. They had an ice cream stand pretend area, pretend like you're in an ice cream stand, a pretend doctor area. Then they had a rocket ship, and they had little helmets. You could pretend like you're a little astronaut. She liked that. She really liked that. You sit down on the inside of this little rocket ship and press buttons, and it plays noise. They had one of those big orbs, the big Tesla ball orbs, where can you put your hand on it, the static or the electricity comes to your hand fingertips.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Like I said, they had so much. They had sandboxes. They had dinosaur bone dig pits with dirt and stuff.
Nice.
So again, there was so much to do, so much fun, little sensory stuff. And like I said, it was just something. It just ended up kind of turning the day around for me because again, I was even telling her, I was like, look, my biggest thing is as long as she's happy and getting out to get to do stuff, I just wanted her to be able to have new experiences. And here it was right in front, just happened to park right in front of it. Um, and I was like, it's just funny how life kind of little things, even when it doesn't go to plan the way that I'm a big planner, I'm always wanting to like stick to the plan kind of thing. But even when it doesn't go to plan, it still can work out.
Hmm.
Then after that, we went out to eat. Went to a Mexican restaurant, which was really good, and I'll talk more about that during the eating. And then for my benefit too, one of my favorite things, places that I've not got to go to in a while, ever since they moved locations, they actually moved
Hmm.
into a new, bigger building, is the Asian food market that we
Hmm.
have. Yeah, and they moved into a new location, which is actually closer to our house, and I hadn't been in a while, and I was so excited to get to go there. So we went there and looked around, and I got some nice new fun things to try and talk about, and
Nice.
some old things that I have already had before, but that I just wanted to try again because it'd been a while and I missed them. So, and then it's pretty much all it on the doing. I think that for me this week. So if that would actually be a good way to segue into eating. Actually, I think eating's going to be my biggest category. So we'll jump into eating and see what you've been chowing on.
Okay. Um, well, I don't know how. See, start out on a bad note. So
Oh, good.
yesterday, me and our father went to the grocery store to get some groceries, as you do at the grocery store.
As you do.
And yeah,
In the name.
and next to the grocery store, or while we were at the grocery store,
Yeah.
I've been really, because I get on kicks, right?
Same.
Of
Yeah.
uh, bone in. I'm a bone in kind of guy,
Yeah.
90% of the time. Of some classic hot buffalo, mild buffalo wing.
Nice. Nice.
And so there's a place right next to the Kroger's called Buffalo Bob's.
Oh, never heard.
So
That's cool.
yeah, I hadn't either. So I'm like, okay, that sounds
Would say
pretty
I
good
have to
place to
try
get.
it next time I come up, but from the start of this story, I may not.
Uh, so so he just waits out in the car. I go on in, and um, trying to think how this went. Oh yeah, so they have like a computer as you go in. A I don't know what you would call it. Just like a computer. It's like almost like a self check,
Okay, like the
but for
digital
a
pickup
restaurant.
thing. Yeah, yeah. McDonald's has been
Yeah,
doing that now.
right. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much. But on a McDonald's, has got like the huge, and even I think some Taco Bells do it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're
um,
right.
but this was like a much smaller. It was just like a little tablet.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, you go in there and you place your order and pay for it all right there. It's like zero human contact, so an introvert's dream.
Hmm.
Uh, which I don't consider myself one, but I know you are kind of.
Yeah. I'm.
Uh,
What's it? The in between. Uh,
yeah.
my wife, she's very introverted, and then I'm ambivert. That's what it is. I think. Exactly.
No. Um, and so anyway, so I went in and they had a pretty good deal. It was, I believe, let me see if I remember, it was 10 wings, 5 wings for $10. There we go. 5 wings for $10 or 10 wings for $15. So the I went
Yeah.
with the 10 wings for 15 because
Yeah.
you're
Not
getting
bad.
5 more and you're saving $5.
Right.
So in doing that though, I clicked on the wings, bone in. Almost decided to go with all flats. That was an option for an extra
Wow.
dollar.
Oh, that's ew.
Which,
I'm
yeah,
a flats
I,
guy.
I
Yeah.
right. I'm a flats guy all the way.
Agreed.
But
Same.
but some reason in my head I couldn't justify. I'm like, why are you making me pay extra for all of just one part? But
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it. And I was looking, and I guess the struggle was all over my face because a friendly and nice cashier lady came over to me and she said, "Oh, do you need some help?" Because they have sauce options, and it was like a whole page of sauces. And I said, "Well, yeah, kind of." I said, "I'm just looking for some mild buffalo sauce, just like basic,
Mhm.
classic buffalo." Because they had like garlic parmesan, honey barbecue, honey mustard, the sriracha. All sounds good, but that's not what I wanted.
Yeah. You want the classic?
Right. So she said, "Oh, so you hit original." She said, "That's our original." And then she scrolled down and she said, "You just put mild, or you had the level of
Of heat.
intensity that you wanted it." Yeah. I said, "Oh, okay, cool." So I put mild and looked around. They apparently on at least Saturday, which was yesterday when we went, 2 to 5 is their happy hour, which means it was $6 appetizers,
Yeah.
which I almost partaked in, but then I'm like, I'm taking it home. It'd be different if I was sitting in or something like that.
Right.
So anyway, so I ordered the chicken wings and a cherry coke,
Nice.
and I sat down and went over and waited. I paid, and then I went and waited.
Hmm.
And this is where it gets weird.
Oh.
So while I'm waiting, so I wait for a while. It wasn't too bad of a wait. All things considered, to before I get to the end of this very long story that I'm drawing out,
Oh,
Uh,
it's all good.
the service was good and everything. The pricing good. Everything was fine, except for the fact that when she called my name, she said Jared for my order. I was like, oh, that's me, because I was the only one there waiting on food anyway to go. And so I went and grabbed it. And as I was getting it, she said, I know you wanted mild, but I put you an extra. I put you like one of the little clear cups,
Yeah, little
like the
plastic.
dipping cups.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And she said, I put one of these of the medium sauce for you.
Okay. Well,
And I was like, okay.
yeah, sure.
And so when I got home and we were already unloading the groceries that we had got and then my food, and this bag is just leaking,
Oh
basically.
no.
But when you order buffalo wings and it's gonna leak, what color do you expect it to be?
Orange or red, maybe.
Uh huh. Would you say you would be concerned if it was leaking yellow?
Eh, Yeah, a little bit. I know there is like yellow sauce, but not typically. When you think mild, I wouldn't think yellow.
I mean, this is a very runny yellow.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't think that's more of a honey mustard type
Right.
situation.
Which honey mustard still would have been better than what I was given.
Oh no, what was it?
Buttered chicken wings.
Ooh,
No
it was
sauce on them.
butter running?
It was just cooked with butter, like
Oh,
Paula Deen herself.
oh my gosh. And then just gave you some medium sauce on the side
To
to
dip
and if
10
and
wings in.
I was going to say because also, well, cause see, I wasn't even thinking. I was thinking like just to pour over top of it or something. But like because butter and the sauce is not going to make because butter is basically like an oil. So any kind of
Right.
sauce you mix in it, it's just going to look so much worse. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. And it's already a mess with butter running everywhere.
Right, because that's what I was going to say.
Uh,
Butter's worse than oil even because normally when you
yeah.
make wings, you deep fry it in oil. But even then, you want to make sure some of the oil's off so that because if you don't, then your sauce is not going to stick to it. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
Butter and oil, you cook it in oil, but you don't leave the oil where it's leaking out of the bag, or else your sauce. What's dipping going to do? If there's that much butter, the dipping isn't going. The sauce won't stick. Oh my gosh,
And then
scary.
the last part, it was
Okay,
a
yeah, sorry.
little overcooked.
Oh well, yeah.
It was pretty dry and not overcooked in like a nice crispy crunchy sense
Hmm.
because every now and then that's fine. No, this was just overcooked as in not really edible. So the cherry coke was lovely.
Oh,
I
good,
drank
nice.
and everything else was not.
Happy ending.
No.
I hate that. Well, tell me you at least ate something that went well this week, other than the cherry
You
coke.
know. uh, well, hang on, let me work up because I have
Oh, okay.
another.
Oh no.
Uh, yeah. So at work, I don't know. So our work it's almost set up like a hospital, right? Like you have the building and everything, and it's got its own cafeteria
Oh,
where you
okay.
get. Um,
Yeah,
they
it's
got
a
little coolers and snack items, and they also have like the little gas station hot grill area where you get like just basic burgers or chicken sandwich, chicken
oh,
strips,
okay.
and fries and stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty nice. But they also do like a special of the day. Each day they have a different meal that's the special of the day.
Hmm.
So, which is a great idea, great concept, but for the most part, it's a pretty heavily manual labor physical job
Right.
with a lot of moving. It's a non-climate controlled massive warehouse. So, and it's been hot last week. So anyway, two of the specials, Thursday and Friday, both sounded fantastic, and I would have loved to have tried, but it is not food that one would eat to then proceed to work in a
Factory
90-degree
burning up.
warehouse
Yeah.
running around throwing car parts. Thursday was loaded baked potato bar
Oh,
So
that does
basically, they
sound
would
good.
make you a loaded baked potato, and they have like the chili, the cheese, jalapenos, bacon bits, and all the good
Mm.
stuff to put on the loaded baked potato.
Yeah, it'd be nice and carved up and gassy. Does sound good
Right,
though. I gotta admit though,
right,
it does
right.
sound really good.
Exactly. It sounded fantastic. I was like, man, I would love to try some of that, but I'm not going to because I don't want to pass out or
Just
puke.
destroy yourself, yeah, right before going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Friday was, now hear me out. This will be I think worse for you hearing this than it was for me. Friday was a pasta bar
Oh,
to where you would go pick your noodles, pick your meat, and pick your sauce.
yeah.
So, as you know, again, I don't traditionally do
Red sauce.
pastas,
Oh well, pasta. Yeah.
but uh, oh, and I should say I work with our father, and most days, if he's not too busy, he'll me and him have lunch at the same time together. Well, he has, after years of very hard work, gotten himself into the position of a manager, boss, supervisor, to where physically his job is not as difficult.
Right.
So he sat down across from me with just a large container of chicken Alfredo. He had the noodles,
he
the white
he is going Michael
Alfredo,
Scott with it. Yeah, nice.
yeah, the Alfredo and the chicken chunks. Looked and
It sounds
smelled
amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
He kept going on about how great it was, and I am eating my breaded. I get a breaded chicken sandwich. So it's almost like a McChicken without the anything on it,
Okay.
which is fine and dandy. I enjoy those very much.
Yeah.
That's one of my go-to meals for lunch. Is either a chicken. I get two breaded chicken sandwiches. Take the chicken off of one, put it on the other, so I just have the one bun and the two pieces of chicken. Or I'll get the chicken tenders. There's three chicken tenders, and you can get I get three mozzarella sticks. Those are 90% of the time my go-to meals while I'm at work.
Okay.
But watching him eat and talk about that Alfredo was very heartbreaking. When I would have loved to have had some, but that's also not. It's a heavy setting dish that you don't want to eat when
Right.
you're working the way I do.
Yeah, you don't want to carb up before the big race, Michael Scott style, is what I'm saying. Because I believe it's
Right.
Alfredo that he was eating, but and see again too, just referencing that episode of The Office, the Alfredo that Michael Scott eats in that does look so good because it's in the big tin. If I remember right,
Mhm.
it's in one of those big tin pans, which makes it even look better. Um,
Right.
Now I want chicken Alfredo, and I ain't had Alfredo in a while. It's
Uh,
funny because you mentioning that does remind me when I used to work. It was at a different call center than I'm at now. The one I'm at now, it's more of a data entry slash call center. But
mhm.
back in 2013, so it's been, golly, it's already been 11 years. Jeez, 11 years ago. Oh, it feels bizarre to say out loud.
Mm.
11 years ago, at my job that I was working then at a call center, we had caterers would come in, which is kind of similar. We had Smoky Bear's Barbecue would come in some days.
Cool.
Um, Papa John's Pizza would come in and cater, and then Fazoli's would come in and cater.
Wow.
Uh, and again, my favorite thing when Fazoli's came in was always chicken Alfredo, and I'd get like a bunch of red pepper flakes put on it. And like you were saying, you could almost kind of do it yourself. Like they would just have a bunch of different Fazoli's pastas, sauces, and like toppings, and you could just build your own pasta bowl and then go back to your desk and eat. And that was one of the things
Wow.
I loved getting was that. But see, it's funny though because you was talking about the chicken sandwich. I worked also in 2013. Earlier in 2013, I worked at the Walmart deli, and I
Mm.
used to eat my lunch there pretty much because same thing, right? Working the deli, we was on our feet all day, and we had to run the slicers. So like if anybody wanted sliced meat and cheese, we had to run those, and then also run the orders if somebody ordered fried chicken or ordered like a big family order catering thing, we had to work that. We also worked the hot bar where you could get your plate lunch with like chicken tenders, mashed potatoes, and then we had like potato salad and pasta salad in these big cooler bowls that we had to also work that part. So it was
Mm.
a constantly moving, and you're in so many different temperatures because you're near a rotisserie chicken oven, you're near a deep fryer, or you're going back to the fridge and freezer to replenish your food that's out there and your cold salads and stuff.
I know how
So
that goes.
right, so during that time, the biggest thing I ate the most, and it was almost an everyday thing, and sometimes I'll get it again just for like nostalgia's sake. Is I would always get one. We sold the hand breaded chicken sandwiches, like he's talking about, just like a regular hand breaded chicken sandwich.
Hmm.
But I would use the slicer, and I would slice me some cheese. I'd always get me some sliced cheese, like one or two slices, and put on that to put on my sandwich. I usually got Colby Jack. I think was the one I got the most.
Nice.
And then I would just put that on there. And I would buy me a bottle of tea, sweet tea, and then I would get a bag of the jalapeno kettle chips. And then I'd go sit out in front of the store on the little sidewalk there and sit and eat my lunch and listen to my MP3 player. But it was that chicken sandwich every day, hand breaded, just basic chicken sandwich every day. Uh, so I've lived both lives, but you know what? I
Yeah.
respect and appreciate both of them. So, but yeah, so
Right.
not bad though. But yeah, that it's neat that they at least do that though. I think that's good that they do offer it, even if it's just if you get that team lead position, maybe you'll be able to have more of the food you want there.
Yeah, that'll be. Since you brought that up, I'll touch on this. I'm very interested because I got to know a couple of the team leads already pretty well, and one of them. So there's different positions they're lettered,
Hmm.
um, and some are even lettered and numbered. Like for example, the most normally I'm in what's called F1, but it's on the second floor and it's split up into two areas, which is F1 and F2. Well, in F1, the team lead seems very chillaxed and, I mean, moves around and does their job.
All right.
But, and when I talked to them about it, they even said it's a very, I just got a achievement called chillax.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a very easy job. That's what she said, or they said. Sorry, not. And so I thought, okay, that's interesting. But if you go and if you can find the F2 team lead, they are all over the place, very calm, but yet still frantic, running all over the place,
It's a lot
doing this and
busier
that.
position, yeah.
Right. And I'm sure they wouldn't say it was a very easy, laid back job. So
Right.
I'm kind of curious.
Which position you're gonna, if you do get it, which way yours is gonna go, yeah.
Right. And what would be expected, I guess, in that position.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
So,
Well, what else you got for me food wise?
uh, so, while we were at the store, I almost forgot. While we were at the store, I grabbed myself some stuff to get back into, because as you know, I've been on a weight loss journey, as they say on the gram, and been doing pretty good, but I kind of hit a snag to where I'm either been staying the same or only dropping a pound or two
Yeah, I feel
the
that.
past few weeks.
Yeah.
So years ago, back in probably 2017, I was doing really good at losing weight with uh, homemade, basically quesadillas or roll-ups, like snack wraps.
Yeah, yeah. I do a lot of
So
that.
I
Yeah.
got myself. I seen at Kroger's they had the sandwich-sized pepperonis and hard
Oh,
salami.
yes.
So I got some of that, and we had already had some bologna, and I got some flour tortillas. So I had two, no sauces, just cheese, bologna, hard salami, and pepperoni. Heat them up for about 30 seconds in the microwave. Two little roll-ups, high protein, low carb,
Can't go wrong there. Yeah,
and
those are
those
always
were
good.
really good. And today, never mind the fact that I just said about a weight loss journey,
Oh yeah,
uh,
that's
to help transition, possibly. Uh, I will be tonight, actually at 9 o'clock. Me and our father's going to go watch the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, to which I will be getting a decent sized popcorn, some Reese's Pieces, and a large cherry Coke.
classic.
And
Classic
I think
movie
that'll be
go
how I
to.
end my night. But next week I will be ordering some pizza because we discovered that apparently on Fridays, Domino's still delivers at least on Friday up to 1 a.m.
Nice.
So, and I've been really craving. I can't do regular pizza, but I get like the ranch sauce or Alfredo sauce, and I've been
Yeah.
craving that for a while. So that will be something I'll try to do and get back with you on next weekend.
Nice. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Well, anything else on the food thing or
Uh, God, I believe that was it
a good
at the moment.
segue? I guess I'll start on mine then. My eating with Domino's as well. We did have Domino's
Ah,
this week. Ironically, it
nice.
kind of works out. Yeah. Uh, yeah. We actually, which is funny. The story there's a little bit fun. It's a small thing. It's just funny because he was talking about that woman calling your name at the wings place, and it made me think of my issue at Domino's. So it was Friday afternoon because again, payday Fridays are usually pretty busy because
Mhm.
I've got to balance work but also paying bills because by the time I get off of work, I don't get off till 5 o'clock. Or it's after it's 5:15 actually is the technical. I always just round it. I'm bad for rounded down to five or round it up. But since it's 5:15, I always just tell people 5 o'clock. So, but anywho, so I don't get off till after five, and most bill places that I need to take care of things are closed by then. Most places, a lot of places close at like 4:30. Some places close right at 5. So a lot of my bill running and paying and stuff, I have to do either before work, which I clock in at 8:45. Um, so and again, most places don't open up until a certain time in the morning. So I'll have to do either then or on my lunch break, which I only get 30 minutes, which, again, I just try to space everything out, break everything up. Uh,
Mm.
but so, and then if I've got any like time saved up, vacation time at work or PTO or paid time off, then I'll use some of that to kind of help cushion on paydays and stuff. And so basically though Fridays is spent half the day working and when I do have free minutes it's trying to take care of bill stuff and grocery to get the groceries stuff. So we normally always try to save a little bit of money to get hot food or special food on payday weekends and stuff, especially that Friday. But this was in the afternoon and I was already just so exhausted for whatever reason other than just fate stepping in. I did not sleep well at all Thursday night, Friday morning.
Mm.
My alarm was set. I was going to start at I think 6:30 to get up and start go by the bank and get some of the stuff done cuz again, stuff doesn't open still until a certain time. It's still 2 hours before work, but there's no sense in getting up much earlier than that because nowhere else is going to be open yet for me to do the running. I woke up at 5:20.
Ah.
My wife doesn't like she gets up at 5:30 for work. So her alarm hadn't even went off yet. And I was up and it's just one of those things. Like I was just like, well, I can't go back to sleep now. I'm an hour before my alarm goes off, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'm up. And I was like, I guess I can go ahead and start trying to figure out some bill stuff that I can do online, paying some stuff and looking and see what we got paid and stuff. But so it was like 2, 3 o'clock somewhere in there. I was gonna go and get us pizza. We'd all been craving pizza and wanting some pizza and stuff. And Domino's had a new New York style pizza. And I'm big on New York style pizza, even though I still argue all these fast food places that keep coming out. Oh, it's their new New York style. It doesn't taste like New York style to me, at least for my liking. I'm a big New York style guy. I've actually been to New York and had New York style pizza where legit. So I at least feel like I have enough of a basis to be able for my own taste for what I'm looking for when they say New York style pizza.
Mhm.
There's a place here in town called Brooklyn Brothers. That to
Mhm.
me is New York style pizza. It's the best closest thing I can get to New York style pizza without driving all the way to New York. But the problem with Brooklyn Brothers is it's a lot higher price. Now it's worth it because again, it's what I want. Every time I eat Brooklyn Brothers, it makes me so happy because it tastes just like New York style, but it's just so much more expensive. So I don't get it a lot. Like usually I'll get it like around my birthday. Um,
Mhm.
but so whenever like Papa John's came out there's like, oh, it's New York style, and I'm like, oh yes, Papa John's, I get coupons there. It's just like a fast food version of pizza. I can do that. To me, it did not wasn't like it. And Domino's came close, and I think they would have actually the flavor wise, Domino's New York style pizza was amazing, but it just overcooked it a lot.
Mm.
Um, and again, I don't know if that's just how it's supposed to be made or if it was just at this particular location. But when you think New York style pizza, you think the fold. When you do that foldable slice, it's big enough and kind of floppy, and you can fold it and eat it. The bottom half of this was kind of foldable and kind of softer, but the top half, the crust was so crisp. It was more of a snap than a fold. It goes, you know how that, you know what I'm talking about. When it's so
Yeah, it's my
crispy,
knees in the morning.
yeah. When you go to fold it and it just goes, and and it was just really crunchy and hard on like the pepperonis and cheese. Like instead of the cheese pull and stretch, it was just like that kind of burnt, like baked onto there, the crunchy cheese. But
Mm.
again, it tasted fine and it was good. I just wouldn't be calling it New York. But no, what was funny is I was so tired. I went in there, I got there early, and so I was just sitting in the little waiting area. They don't really have like an eating area, they just have like a bench you can sit on. And I was sitting there, and they was like, "Oh, you got an online order?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "But I'm 15 minutes early. I'm actually running early." They had a thing going on Main Street, so I left way early because I didn't want to
Hmm.
run into extra traffic.
Right.
Um, and but ended up the road that I took through. Apparently, the thing that was happening on Main Street didn't start until an hour after I was going to go get it.
Ah.
So I ended up getting there to get the pizza 15 minutes early, and I'm just like, well, you're fine, no rush. I said, I'll just chill over here. I said, you guys are good. I said, I'm the one running early, and they're like, okay, cool, cool, no worries. Yeah, we'll get working on it. And I sat down, and I started playing on my phone, and like I just zoned out. I completely spaced. I think like it's one of those things where you're awake, but you still feel kind of like you've fallen asleep kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Cause
My
I
entire Friday was like that.
cause the dude said my name, and he said it twice, and I just sat there looking at my phone, and I wasn't even really like I was on Facebook, but I wasn't even really scrolling. I just kind of was like zoned out.
Asleep.
Yeah, I was just like staring, and then he says it again, and I was like, wonder who's he calling for, and I was like, oh, that's me, and I looked up, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, yeah, and he goes, oh, it's all good, and I swear
Wow.
that guy's probably like this guy right here, man, but
Yeah, well, it doesn't help. Let me. Okay, so it would have been Saturday was 420, but
yeah, right, exactly, and that's why this guy's like he's getting an early jump on. He got off work and he's ready to go. But no, but no, it was good. It was really good. I will say we also got Parmesan bread bites, and
Mm,
those were way overcooked too. Those were like more like Parmesan rock bites. Uh,
gross.
yeah. So I guess my experience started off a little rough too. But two other things that cover real quick. I'm gonna cover a couple other food things real quick. Like I said, it's my big category, so I'm just gonna breeze through. Earlier this week, um, I'd gotten at Walmart the cup noodles, the cup of noodles, styrofoam cups are like ramen. They have two new flavors out. One is everything bagel and cream cheese flavor.
Mm,
One is maple pancakes with sausage and scrambled eggs.
do what
Flavor
now?
wise, what?
Do what? Say that last one again.
It's it's maple pancake, sausage and scrambled eggs flavored ramen. Well, I should say the ramen is maple pancakes flavored, and then it's got little chunks and bits of scrambled eggs and sausage in it. And then the everything bagel one has like I guess it's cream cheese, little cream cheese pieces, and then like basically the everything bagel one. And this is my problem with it. The taste was spot on what they said. I like a good everything bagel with cream cheese and stuff. That's fine. I don't eat it a lot, but it's good. But the thing is texture is everything. The delivery method for these are everything. The flavor of the everything bagel and cream cheese was there. They nailed it. But here's the problem. It was basically noodles with like the cream cheese, like how whatever the process they do to like make it where it's safe to be dried out or whatever put in there. And then it just feels like they just took a handful, maybe two or three handfuls to be honest. We're being honest here, moderate of the everything bagel seasoning and just dumped it over top of these noodles. So like you've got like these sesame seeds and little like salt, like not like salt like you at a salt shaker, but like the thick pieces of salt and like onion, whatever. It's like that all that dry, crunchy everything seasoning, but it's on your noodles that you add water to, and you got the ramen more slippery wet noodle with now all this little sesame seed crunchy little like gravel top essentially bits. It don't taste like gravel. It tasted fine, but the texture was like putting dirt and gravel on my ramen noodles. It's not a texture you want on your noodles. It's just
I would say not.
like so the flavor wise it was good. Texture wise I did not like it and I didn't finish it. It was just too much, too weird to try to like marry those two. The pancake one because again it's ramen noodles and you just throw sausage like scrambled eggs and sausage, which is a softer thing, and it's like actual big chunks that are just down in with it. You know, a lot of times you make ramen, you put some hard boiled eggs and maybe put some ham in there. So it's like it's just a breakfast version of ramen. It tasted great. It was fantastic.
Really?
I came close to getting some more of it this week. I probably will honestly go back because my wife was asking me about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll get you some." Because it was good. That one was good.
Mm.
Everything bagel was good flavor wise, not texture wise. Um, then we this weekend we also went to Burger King to try their new cotton candy cloud. It
Mm.
was really good. I agree with her. They skimped us on the foam. They're supposed to put like a cold foam on top. Um, they put like one dollop right in the center, and then that was it. They kind of skimped on it, but that's fine. Flavor wise, it was delicious. Um, I'm not a big cotton candy like in real life guy. Like she loves cotton
Mhm.
candy, the artificial flavoring, and actual cotton candy. I love cotton candy flavor, like the artificial flavor of cotton candy, but I'm not big on real cotton candy. Uh,
Mm.
but this, it tasted. It's funny because we was talking yesterday about the Hubba Bubba and Bubblicious stuff. Hubba Bubba used to have a cotton candy flavor of bubblegum, which was one of my favorites because it was that
Yes.
artificial cotton candy, and that's what
Yeah.
this tasted like in a slushy. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, so it was very good. Not a bad price. I think we got a large, which I think was like two or three something. But I know on the app she was saying something. If you do it on the app or online, you can get it for like $1. So it's not bad.
Wow.
Uh, Also yesterday while we was at the Mexican restaurant, I got the basic because I'm a chicken for trying new things. Well, on here I try a lot of new things, but when it comes to like a restaurant, like a sit-in restaurant, I'm terrified of trying new things. That's the weird part.
Mm.
They could put out bologna and cheese potato chips, and I would go buy that in a heartbeat and try it. But
Same.
fair enough. But when I'm at like a sit-in, like a fancy, like a Mexican restaurant or an Italian restaurant, and they've got something like that I've never had before, tried before, I'm just like, I'm gonna stick with what I know. I got my chicken and cheese with rice and tortilla shells and refried beans. That's what I got.
Mm.
For our daughter, we got little chicken and cheese quesadillas. Of course, she still ended up eating some of mine and some of my wife's food because she eats a little bit from everybody, but that's fine. I had one of her chicken quesadillas, which was good. Uh, and then we got chips and cheese and salsa. It comes with it. And then my wife wanted to try something new. She normally gets the same thing. We almost always either get steak nachos or chicken nachos, or we'll get like the chicken and cheese with the beans and rice.
Mhm.
But she's like, I want to try something new. And so she seen on the menu they had street tacos, which
Mhm.
is basically you pick the meat. You can do the steak, which is the asada, or you can do carnitas, which is the pulled pork. Um, and then they have like a fish tacos and the shrimp. But on the street taco version of it, they put cilantro, fresh onions, and then they also give you pickled onions on the side.
Nice.
And they give you like a corn tortilla shell instead of the flour tortilla shell. So she got two of the carnitas ones. And like I said, at first I was just like, oh man, it looks good, smells good, and she just kept talking about how great they was, and she's like, well, you can try bite, and I was like, okay, and it was out of this world amazing. Even the pickled onions was good. It's strong, but it wasn't bad. As I've always wanted to try pickled onions because I've heard a lot about it.
Hmm.
I really liked it. You gotta like pickles, a little bit of that stronger vinegary taste, but it was good. And then even our daughter, like I said, she surprises me because she's not like a normal 2 year old. She likes strong flavors. She likes things that most kids, especially when I was a kid, if it's got like a real strong bitter taste or just a very strong, punchy in the mouth kind of flavor, most kids won't like it. Most kids, like I was as a kid, I'll admit, it's hot dogs and pizza and chicken nuggets. Don't get me wrong, she loves those. She loves those too, but she eats broccoli, she'll eat spinach, she does not like regular cheese, but she likes sharp cheddar. She likes sharp cheddar better than regular cheese. And she took a bite. My wife's like, you want a little bite? Mom would tear you off a little piece. And she loved the tacos and onions and cilantro and stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah, so we all enjoyed that. It was really good. And then lastly, on my eating, today I got the new McDonald's Cajun McCrispy bacon sandwich or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it it's almost like their spicy chicken sandwich, but it's got bacon and pickles, and the sauce is still that spicy sauce, but just a smokier, which I guess is where the Cajun part comes in. It's like a smoky, spicy sauce with your chicken and pickles and bacon. And I will say the bacon was crispy. Most fast food places, when you get anything bacon, it's like undercooked for my taste. I like crispy bacon, and the bacon was actually crispy, so I'll give them points there. So it
Huh.
wasn't bad. Not bad at all. And I do know you mentioned the movies tonight, so we will roll into watching with what you've been checking out this week.
Well, I'm still, although at a much slower pace,
Yeah,
still been grinding through One Piece.
One Piece in it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'll be very excited whenever you decide to watch again, catch up, even though you're like 700 episodes behind.
Yeah.
Uh, but then I also have started, uh, similar to One Piece. Apparently, it's like a 10-year-old show that I'm just now starting. Is
Hmm.
Spartacus,
Oh, yeah.
which is basically the Roman version of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Uh,
true. Like
put it
gladiators kind of stuff.
simply.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Uh, and it's been pretty good so far. I'm only about 3 or 4 episodes in, because due to the way my schedule works, I only have
Right.
about an extra hour or so a day. It feels like anyway. So I watched about an episode or so a night, but overall it's been pretty good. Very heavy on like slow mo,
Yeah.
massive
Almost like
blood splatter and
300 Zack Snyder
cuts.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically if Zack Snyder did Game of Thrones, is what this is.
Right. Yeah, I
Uh,
watched the first season. I binged most. I don't know if I finished. I feel like I did finish the first season and maybe started the second. But back in 2015, when I first moved out, so it's been about 8, 9 years ago now. When I first moved out and we was living on our own, I binged a good chunk of that, and I really really liked it. And that you talking about it makes me want to try getting back into it again because I did enjoy it. I just again that was when we first moved out, and I wasn't like the job I had was I wasn't working as much and stuff, so I had a lot more free time. Um,
mhm.
and then for some, I guess I just got busy and never got back to it. But yeah, so you definitely got me curious, wanting to get back into it again, probably.
Yeah, I will say my biggest problem at the moment is I do get off work. It's only about 4 or 5 a.m. by the time I get home, and so most of everybody else is going to sleep and so on. So I have to watch it. I watch it on my phone and I try to keep it somewhat quiet.
Hmm.
But I've tried to use subtitles, but it doesn't work for some reason. I turn subtitles on, but they don't show up.
Mm.
And there's a lot of whispering in that movie, and so
Mm.
most of the time I honestly don't have any idea what's going on until people start cutting each other.
That's true.
So,
That's fair.
but other than that, It's been pretty swell. One Piece is so beautiful. A lot of stuff, a lot of connections are being introduced, and the big thing right now is I know you're kind of a Sanji fan. Uh, you find out his actual origins,
Yeah, I've
who his
heard.
actual
Yeah.
family and stuff is.
Yeah.
So they split up, which they do, which I kind of like when they split up to different groups.
Mhm.
It is Nami, Chopper, Brook, and Luffy, and a couple of extra people that you don't know yet. Are have took the Thousand Sunny, and they are going to get up with Sanji to find out more about what's going on. So pretty excited about that,
Nice.
and all to come because everything that everybody I've talked to and everything I hear. Which, fun fact, surprisingly, there's a lot more One Piece fans at my work than I thought there would be. So that's kind of cool. I don't feel alone, or
Right.
standoutish.
Have
Uh,
talking to kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Common
but
ground kind of thing.
apparently the big things, which is recently, I guess, is the Wano arc, and apparently Luffy has a Gear 5,
Hmm.
which just looks outrageous, which I'm very excited to get into.
Okay. Very
And
interesting.
then, again tonight, me and Dad are going to go watch the the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
That
Yeah,
is a is
uh,
that Guy Ritchie?
I'm not for sure on that.
I feel like Guy
I
Ritchie's
do,
doing that one.
I do want to clarify something because I talked to one of my buddies at work about it, and because here's the thing, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what the plot of the movie is. I know it's kind of a war movie with Henry Cavill, and that was enough. Is it about World War II and the Nazis and Hitler?
From best I can tell, yeah. So it is based on the 2014 book Churchill's Secret Warriors: The Explosive True Story of the Special Forces Desperados of World War II. It's a
Oh,
heavily fictionalized version of Operation Postmaster. So it is based on a
okay.
true story, but it is also like heavily fictionalized. It's kind of they're going to the extreme with it, but
Mhm.
it is based on like a book about Churchill's secret warriors that he sent on like an undercover mission kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. But it does look really good. I'm excited for it. So you have
Yeah,
to non-spoilery let me know about it.
will do. Will
Um,
do.
but yeah, so I guess with me this week watching, speaking of new movies coming out, and speaking of movie theater movies, I finally started my rewatch. Only one movie in, but that's okay. I got time. Of the Matt Reeves, I believe it's Matt Reeves. Now I'm going blank if it is Matt Reeves or not. Um, Planet of the Apes movies.
Mm.
It is Matt
Such
Reeves.
good movies.
Okay, yeah, because it's funny because you love those, but you're not a big fan of the Batman, which is also Matt Reeves. That's why it threw me off because I'm like Matt Reeves is the Batman director, and I'm like, oh, but he also did the Apes movies.
Yeah,
Um,
you can't
but
win them all.
but anywho, no. So I've watched Rise and Dawn, but I never got to see War for Planet of the Apes, and the new one's what, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I believe so. Yes.
So I'd seen the first two in the trilogy, but I seen them back when they like first came out, and I loved them. But again, it was I mainly watched them when they first came out. So when War came out, that was after I was with Marissa and everything. I think the first two came out before me and her was together, and then War came out after we was married. And again, like it was movies that she just wasn't like super interested in. Um,
Hmm.
and so it was something that I was like, well, I'll just watch it myself whenever I'm able. But I just never got around to it. Whenever I did have time to watch a movie, I just always was picking something else and didn't really think about it. And now
Mm.
that the new one's coming out, I'm like, well, dang, I should probably try to rewatch the ones I ain't seen in forever and then get to that one. But yeah, rewatching Rise was great. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I know he's got some bad skeletons in his closet in real life, but James Franco does really good in that movie.
Mm,
Uh, John Lithgow, I forgot John Lithgow plays his dad, and I love him as an actor, and he did fantastic in it. And obviously, the end of the day, the hat goes off to Andy Serkis every friggin' time. Like, and I seen the thing. I was looking at like after I watched it, and I was giving it my review on Letterboxd and rating and stuff. And I always like reading the other reviews on Letterboxd, and I've seen a lot of people commenting on there and saying similar things. Where one of them was talking about the scene when Caesar first says no.
mm,
Yeah, they said like they said it best. They said it is one of the like should be remembered as one of the greatest like cinematic moments in cinema history or movie moments in movie history. Like it should go
yes.
down as one of those legendary movie moments. Like right up there with
Mm,
I Am Your Father and kind of thing is when Caesar does that very first no. Like it's like the impact you feel watching that cuz obviously, I'd seen it before, but it'd been so long. So rewatching it was like watching it for the first time for me. So I'm sitting here like leaned forward, and when he does that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, goosebumps, like
mm,
chills. Um, so he talked, and then because I do remember Caesar from Dawn as well, and even just in this first one, just rewatching the first one and what little bit I remember from Dawn, I also seen reviews people saying that Caesar is one of their favorite movie characters of all time. Caesar should be one of the in top 10, top fives of movie characters of all time. Like
yes.
he's just so well done. And like I said, it goes obviously to Matt Reeves for his writing, directing, and like cinematography with it. It goes to the effects department because the effects department on those Apes movies are they deserve a raise. They're
Out
off the
of this
chain.
world.
And Andy Serkis, which I could talk, we could do a whole podcast on Andy Serkis. Love Andy Serkis. The man doesn't get
Yes.
enough recognition.
He really
Ironically,
doesn't.
both literally or figuratively, but especially just because one of his most well known things is in as Caesar, and rewatching that, it's just incredible. It's because you feel every emotion, and you like you feel so connected to him and so
Mhm.
embraced and like it's so wild to believe. But yeah, so that's a big one. X-Men 97 was good this week. Last week's, as I told you, was like a huge episode. This week was good. It was more of a one-off, which I knew it would be because with episode 5 being like this huge earth-shattering episode, emotional heartbreak episode, I even
Mm.
told my wife, I'm like, this one's probably going to be just like a quick one-off to give everybody time to recover before we get back into what just happened. And it was a completely separate. They didn't even hardly mention what happened in the last episode until like the end of this episode, which is to set you up for them to come back for it. But this episode did mainly focus on my wife's favorite character, favorite X-Men character, and she had a really big moment in this episode. So my wife was really excited. She was clapping and really excited for this episode. So if you are a Storm fan, then you'll love it. Then it's just as good as episode 5, which I liked it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I'm just after episode 5, I'm like, yeah, this is a nice little in between bridge episode.
Mm.
But Marissa was really happy because she's a Storm fan, and it was definitely a Storm episode. Uh,
Mm.
but they had some really cool animation techniques in this one too. I will say that I really loved about it. Uh, and they did the character a lot of justice, which is good. And then, oh, and then pretty much the other two things that I watched this week of note. We've been keeping on our spooky halfway to Halloween thing.
Mm.
So we watched Spirit Halloween, which was it's based on the stores, the infamous Spirit Halloween stores. But
I was going to make that joke. I didn't know that.
yeah, they actually made their own movie like last year, and it's like a cheesy B movie, but I like it. It's like I told her, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It's like a fun little. It's these kids that are, it's this little group of friends, and one of them they go trick or treating every year. They love Halloween, but they're in like middle school now, and one of them's like, we're too old for trick or treating. I'm going to Jerry something's party this year, and they're like, but we do this every year, man. And he's like, that's baby stuff. And they're like, well, we got to do something just us to one more time. And he's like, okay, well, you come up with something and we'll do it. and they decide to hide out inside the Spirit Halloween store until after it closes, and like do an all nighter in a closed Spirit Halloween. And then like
Interesting.
but it turns out there's like actual ghost curse thing. Christopher Lloyd is like haunting the store, and he starts possessing the animatronics and bringing them to life to try to steal one of the kids' bodies, so he
God.
can come back to life. Like it's this cheesy, campy, and he has to like keep trying out different animatronics. He can only like take over one at a time, and it's funny. It's funny, but it's also very Halloweeny. Like when they're riding their bikes through the streets and there's Halloween decor, and their parents are like, "Oh, or you could take your little sister trick or treating this year," and he's like, "I ain't doing this baby stuff," like it just feels nostalgic. It's like that Stranger
Mm,
Things, Stand by Me, Hocus Pocus kind of stuff, and so I enjoyed it.
mm,
Uh, and then keeping on our Friday the 13th trend, we watched Jason Lives, which I believe is part 6. Uh,
mm.
it was fun. Again, it's that one's in those 80s kind of slasher where they was just cranking them out. It's part 6 out of what, 10, 11 Friday the
Yeah.
13th movies. Uh, this was fun. I liked it better than part 5. I enjoyed it. Uh, they changed the actor for Tommy Jarvis for the third time,
Mm.
and but I liked this actor better. So some of the characters were a little bit smarter in this one for a horror movie. I was a little bit impressed, and then some of them was dumb as a bag of rocks, and I was like, how
Uh,
you got this job is probably because it's the sixth sequel in a slasher film, so you probably actually make more sense than the people that know what they're doing. But it was fun. It's good. So I've got 3 more, and then I will have officially watched all the Friday 13th. So I'll have that to be able to in the repertoire. Um, and outside of that, I guess that will lead us into what we've been playing,
uh,
which is a little bit of the same things again. I know that I know we definitely have both been playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which we will
yep.
hopefully have a video on the channel soon, gameplay footage and us trying that out. And then we played more Grounded, which I know we talked about last week, but worth of note that we were playing more of it. We're still grinding out, trying to beat the main story, and then hopefully start taking on some of the bosses. But
Yeah.
yeah. But for you, any other gaming things to add before I add the two others that I've got to contribute?
Uh, Let me double check. I don't think so.
Okay. Or if there's anything of note you want to talk about with the ones we had that with Grounded or Turtle Revenge or Shredder's Revenge. I mean, the turtles are totally getting revenge on Shredder, so is he
Yeah.
really the one getting revenge, or are we?
Uh, mm, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I don't think we talked about it. Might have been this week. Pretty sure last week we do in the honor of the Fallout TV series on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
We both started our own new stories
yeah,
on Fallout 76 together.
yeah.
That was fun.
It
Hopefully, we
was.
can get
Yeah,
back
we
into
need to
that
play
after
more of
we
that.
finish Grounded.
True.
And
Even play some
and then
after the
I'd like to
podcast.
get back into. It's been a while. See, it's kind of updates for some of these preview games like Power World and Lightyear Frontier. It's been a hot
True.
while since we've been on.
True. True.
Uh, and I don't know. I've been thinking about. I want to get me a good single player game to play, just
Hmm.
for the sake of doing it. Maybe even throw it up on my Twitch because I have it connected to my Xbox easily enough.
That ain't bad.
So, you know what? If anybody's listening to this, you let me know. I will
Yeah.
have James put in my Twitch account link,
Yep.
and you comment. Tell me if any of those games sound interesting that you would want me or me and him to play, and get some feedback from you guys.
Yeah, which actually is a good little segue interruption thing here before I mention the before I go on my stuff here is a good thing too is I have been working. I meant to say on the doing. I have been working on our social media. We do have a Facebook page now, Throwback Afternoon. We do have a Twitter account or X account, whatever it is now. Uh, and I think I already have an Instagram. I don't know, but I'm gonna look. And we do have a TikTok account now, as well as
Mm.
our YouTube, obviously. and our Spotify. So, but I will definitely. I'll also post that on Twitch, or I'll share your Twitch link info over onto our Facebook page too. So be sure to go and check that out as well. And
Yeah, I
check
have
us out on
some
Twitter and all
videos I
those.
believe already up.
Okay, cool deal. So yeah, that's where you can find that as well. I'll try to put it in the show notes, but I'll also put it over on our social media pages to try to help you out there too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing, other than like I said, ones we mentioned, I've still been on the Fallout Shelter
Oh yeah.
binge, and then Harold Halibut came out this week, which is a game I've been waiting for, been so excited to play. And so far it's not disappointed. I think I'm halfway through the game. I don't really know. My brother-in-law's also been playing it, and he just beat it last night. But I will say, me and him throughout the week. It came out Tuesday. Tuesday. It came out on Tuesday, and throughout the week, me and him have been playing after work, and I've been getting on before work and stuff. And but every time we would talk about it, try to see where we were at without spoiling each other, we was pretty much right around the same area. I think we was pretty close in like keeping up with each other. But then I guess yesterday, where I was more out doing stuff, and but he messaged me last night saying he beat it officially and was
Mm.
gonna be moving on to another game soon. But yeah, so I'm hoping and thinking that means that I'm not far from beating it, at least the main story, but I am loving it. It is a stop motion claymation kind of game. It's very much, the animation style is very much, if you've ever watched Wallace and Gromit or Chicken Little, or not Chicken Little, Chicken Run, or even Nightmare Before Christmas and James and the Giant Peach, like that kind of animation style. Coraline is another
Mm.
good one. It's all done in that kind of well, not hand drawn, handcrafted, and I think they actually did do like full stop motion with the puppets and claymation figures and stuff to do the whole game, and like the choices and the walking film, all that stuff. Uh, but it's just really, it's just like a laid back, but it's also, there's a certain mystery to it. It's mostly you're just walking through the story, but you also, there's a few little puzzle things, and you got to make some choices on certain things. But it's just really good. It's beautifully, the art and stuff. Even though it's stop motion claymation, to me, it's, some of it's just absolutely gorgeous
Mm.
and cinematic looking, because you're, so it's apparently where the, in this universe, they was afraid of the world. I can't remember what year it is. It's like futuristic-y kind of, but it's where they're afraid that the world is going to end or run out of resources. So they send this ship, which is called the Fedora 1, out on a voyage to try to find another sustainable planet. And there's one that appears to be sustainable. It's got water and everything. But when they get there, they find out that actually the whole planet is water. There's no like body of land for them to actually
Mm.
land on. And furthermore, the atmosphere is ravaged by like solar windstorms. So they end up basically crashing down underwater on this planet, and but the ship and everything's still intact, and it's almost like a space station type thing, but because they have a cafeteria, they have living quarters, and they have a little school and stuff for the families to live, but it's all in like different sections of the ship. But basically, they've just had to live there for years because there's no way of getting back out or back home,
Mm.
and they've just living in this, is just this new place to live. And so it goes through there, and the main character you play is this Harold Halibut, who is kind of like a maintenance guy, but he's also kind of like helping the head scientist, like he's like a intern kind of thing for her. But he's just this very blue.
Algernon?
What is it?
Was it flowers for Algernon?
No, but he's just this very blue collar kind of like, everyman, I guess you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you follow him around and kind of first, getting to know everybody on the ship and how everything day to day life works and his kind of routine. But then again, little mysteries are going on, little like stuff. Was it? I think my brother-in-law compared it. He said it's almost like Mr. Bean crossed with Sherlock Holmes, but it's just really fun. It's just relaxing, but also still engaging. Uh, so yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. It's on Games Pass. I highly recommend it. It's so fun, and again, just great to look at. And that's the biggest thing on my gaming, and that's pretty much the biggest things I had two things on my reading. I'll throw that out real quick. It's not really much to like delve into. I got a when I was back over Christmas when I was up there where you guys are at, and we went to Barnes and Nobles. I did get a Greek myths and mythology thing, but it's like they're all like retold and like stories thing.
Mm,
And I read some more on it this week. I'd started reading it a while back, but I think the first one was The Tale of the Gorgons, which is Medusa and Perseus. And I'd read that one, but then this week I read the second story in it, which was The Midas Touch and King Midas.
mm.
So that was good. And then I started re-listening, or not re-listening. I started back listening to the Dungeons and Daddies podcast, which is like a D&D podcasty type thing on YouTube and Spotify. And it's really nice getting back into that. I used to listen to it a lot. So getting back into it's been really fun. And yeah, that's pretty much I think the week, right? I think it's pretty
It's
much
been
the
a week.
podcast, yeah. So that's gonna do it for this week's episode. But it's definitely been fun hanging out with you guys and telling you guys about our week. It's been fun chatting with you, Jared, and talking to you about your week.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, we'll definitely look forward to doing it again next week. So, and like I said, I'm gonna try to get some more videos up this week, whether it's some shorts on like TikTok or YouTube, and I may try to make some posts on the Facebook page or something. But yeah, definitely interact with us. Be sure to share and comment and subscribe. Tell everybody, help us grow. Help us grow this little throwback afternoon crew. And be sure to come back next week for another podcast. Exciting here. You heard it first. And until then, you guys take it easy out there.
See you guys.